All right, I think I've got one person. V, good evening. How is the video? How is the audio? Just let me know, you're the first. Everything perfect. Please let me know, where did you get the link? From Patreon or from Community tab? Because I post the link in the Community tab and Patreon as well. I just want to know where it comes from. All right, Patreon. Okay, good. So that means the links work well and no problems whatsoever. How's your day? How is your ride? How is your weather? You're good, still planning my trip for the summer. Your videos are amazingly helpful. Glad to help. This was the original idea of the channel, to help to spread my message or to share the knowledge that I've got. Ilkut, hi, how are you doing, my man? Yeah, all right, 2 people I've got. So I'm glad that the channel helps. I'm glad that many people got even inspired and start traveling more than they usually do. This is like a big bonus for me. As I said, I never planned this channel. I never wanted to become YouTuber or famous or whatever you want to name it. The idea was just to publish a few videos and eventually help a few people get what they need. Anyway, I'm glad that the idea works well. How are you, Ilkut? How are the things in Turkey? I hope better now. Doing well, preparing for your East Turkey in April. Excellent. You know, preparation is the key to success. Everything you do before the trip will help you during the trip, no exceptions. It doesn't matter what other people believe. This is the reality. All right, I have a long list today to complete. I'm gonna read to you at least the main points, so you might focus more on this moment. So first of all, it doesn't matter how good rider you are or from how many years you're riding motorcycle. If you never travel with a motorcycle before, you will make at least one of the mistakes that I'm gonna list here. And the idea of this live stream is eventually to learn it and prevent it during your trips. I will tell you that I've done almost all of these mistakes until I learn what I have to do. And nowadays we've got YouTube, we've got this wonderful platform and so many different ways, social media, to share our experience and eventually help others to make it a little bit easier than us. Anyway, the most important moments that I will talk on this stream are: number 1, traveling without plan. This is definitely a mistake. Number 2, not having enough money for the trip. Number 3, wrong motorcycle. We're gonna discuss the motorcycle choice once again. Number 4, riding and working at the same time. I've done this before. It's a terrible mistake. Richard, greetings. You have your favorite drink? Wonderful. Thank you very much for coming. I've just discussed some of the mistakes that I'm gonna talk on this video. Number 4, riding and working at the same time. This is a terrible mistake. I've done this as well. Wrong company choice. I've done this mistake as well. Start without any preparation. I don't need to explain how wrong is this. Matthias, good evening. How are you doing, man? Then it's a wrong tire choice, wrong gear, too much weight, planning too many or too little kilometers per day, risk in the name of the adventure, ruin the trip because of filming, traveling with problems at home, comparing yourself with others. These are basically 15 mistakes that I just choose randomly now for this stream. Of course, there are many more, but I think that these are enough to talk on this topic, and I believe that it will be beneficial for you and many people like you that gonna watch the stream after that to learn some new things. So now I already got like 5 people. Thank you very much to everyone that is already here. So I can start the talk. So let me say it again because you might miss the beginning. It doesn't matter how good rider you are or from how many years you riding motorcycle or having driver license, whatever. If you've never been on the trip, you're gonna make at least one of these mistakes or probably many more on your first trip. Even if you already done a few trips, does not mean that you're not gonna make any more mistakes because you're already experienced riders. There is no such a thing like a full experience. It's impossible. We learn our entire life, and on every trip I learn something new. On every trip I make here and there some mistakes, and I try to prevent it or try to avoid it on my next trip, because the life is forever school. It doesn't matter you're gonna travel with motorcycle, you're gonna have a new job, or you're gonna raise family, whatever. The life is just a school. Anyway, glad that everyone is here. So the first point that I'm going to discuss is to travel without any plans or not having plans for your trip. I talked about this on some of my videos, but I'm gonna give you a little bit more details. For me, to travel without any plans, it's first of all impossible, unless you're some kind of bored millionaire. You have unlimited budget and you can do whatever you like and you can change your plan every minute. Otherwise it will be impossible, because even a simple things like to fill your petrol, your tank with petrol, it's already a plan. Or to know where you're gonna spend the night on the end of the day, this is already a plan. That's why I said to travel without any plans, it is just impossible. But what is important to learn, that the better the plan is, the easier it's going to be for you to execute this plan or to complete the trip successfully and eventually come back home, back safe in one piece with a lot of beautiful memories. Otherwise, you might just waste your time, and not only yours, you might waste the time of your riding partners or everyone who is involved in your journey. That's why in my opinion it is critical, it is very important to have a good plan in advance. The good plan will give you the chance to see as maximum as possible from the trip, because you're gonna plan the way it is easy with minimum kilometers and maximum activities, and the journey will be just better. On the other hand, if you just go like this and you decided, okay, I would like to see Germany, for example, and I would like to see Berlin, but then I would like to see Munich, then I would like to see Frankfurt, and then I would like to see, let's say, Warnemünde or Rostock. But all of these towns, they are on different locations, and between all of them it's like 600 kilometers. So without a plan, what are you gonna do? Circle like a fly, like this direction everywhere, repeating your roads or backtrack your roads? The plan is something that is absolutely necessary for every motorcycle traveler. And I really respect people who at least say that they travel without any plans, but this is impossible in my opinion. The better the plan is, the easy or maybe the safer the journey will go. This is my opinion, and I don't think that anyone can change my opinion on this subject. All right, enough for point number one. Point number two was not having enough money for the trip. I have experienced this as well. When I started traveling, the money were not that easy to get. I'm coming from East Europe, and nowadays I've got sponsors and my trips are a little bit easier. But when I started traveling, I sponsored all of my trips, and I'm in any way I'm not a rich man. So I have to use a portion of my saved money, or to get a portion from my family budget money to avoid my travelings. And to start your trip without having enough money for the trip, it's a terrible mistake. Good evening, Gordon. Nice to see you again here. We start, but you know, all of these people are wait. I've got 6 people today. Excellent. The maximum that I've got so far was 7 people, so if I have more than 7 people today, will be some kind of local record. Anyway, some people believe that if they start the trip with the minimum money that they've got, during the trip everything is going to be all right. Maybe they will expect to get their monthly salary or someone to send them money, but this is not the right way to travel, because you cannot really be in a good mood or relaxed or to enjoy the journey. I remember on one of my trips, part of the money that I was expected for the trip was still not on my account, and I was thinking, okay, I will start now, but after maybe a week the money will arrive and then I'll be all right. But guess not, money does not arrive after a week, they arrived after 4 weeks, and these 3 weeks without any money were terrible for me, and I cannot afford almost anything, and I did so many things, I avoid so many attractions or try to shorten my way because I did not have enough money to continue the whole journey. That's why please do not start your trip if you do not have the money in advance. And keep in mind that you always need to have something like 20% unpredictable costs that might come, and they will probably come during your journey. And yes, this is about the second point, not having enough money. It is very, very important to have the money in advance. Of course, you cannot calculate everything to the last cent. Okay, I will need, let's say, $500 for petrol, $500 for hotels, and maybe more, $300 for food. You cannot calculate everything exactly, but at least you should have a basic idea. For example, before pandemic and the last events that happens around the world, I was able to traveling around Europe with a 50 euros per day budget, 50 euros for everything. Now at the moment it's around 100 euros per day. So if I plan now 2 weeks trip, I will make sure that I have at least 1,500 euros in my pocket before I even start, because I will need this money. Now you can make a simple calculation and have in mind how much money I'm gonna need for my next trip, which will be Magadan, and will take at least 3 months. A lot of money, right? I have sponsors. So far I have some sponsors. I hope that I'm gonna get all the sponsors, but even so it will be expensive journey, and I want to be sure that I'm gonna have the money in advance. And another problem now at the moment is that in Russia I wouldn't be able to use my credit or debit cards, whatever I have, because of the sanctions. So I should have all of this money in cash in my pocket, which is another obstacle that I will try to find a solution to work. Anyway, this is a different thing for maybe another video. All right, number 3. Oh, 7 people already. Please introduce yourself in the comments. So far, I've seen 4 people here. 1, 2, 3, 5 people I know already. We have 7. If you're a new member, please introduce yourself. Say a few words, say hi at least. So the next number 3 is wrong motorcycle. We talked about this many times, almost in every stream we talk about how important is the motorcycle choice. But once again, it will be very important if you plan a long trip. Let me give you a few examples. If you plan a long journey around Europe on the asphalt roads and beautiful scenes or towns or back roads or highways, you can do it with any motorcycle. Of course, the bigger the motorcycle is, the easier it's going to be for you. For example, with 50cc or 150cc will be very, very hard to travel around Europe. Not impossible, but hard. Because even the trucks, the lorries on the highways will be faster than you. They will overtake you with 90 or 100 kilometers per hour. You should stay all the time in the right lane, and it is not going to be a pleasure journey. On the other hand, if you plan a trip, let's say to Africa or South America or Central Asia, then 1200cc, it is not really the right choice for you, because you wouldn't be able to use that power and that performance or everything that this powerful motorcycle provides, because you wouldn't have the chance. For example, when I was on my trip around Southeast Asia, Pakistan, India, Nepal and Bangladesh, in Pakistan I rode 250cc motorcycle. In India I've got 400cc Royal Enfield Himalayan, which was 25 horsepower. the same motorcycle in Nepal, but in Bangladesh I've got 200cc Chinese brand Lifan. And I can tell you for sure that in none of these countries I felt underpowered. So the power that I've got, like 20 horsepower for randomly for all of these motorcycles, they were more than enough for the roads and the conditions and the traffic that they've got there. So even if I got 160 horsepower, I wouldn't be able to use it because the conditions are not right for this type of machine. I hope that you understand what I mean now, why the motorcycle is so important for your journey. And if I had one of these expensive and powerful motorcycles, they will be only a minus for me, because in all of these places I have to worry about the motorcycle. It is very expensive, like a brick of gold that you have to protect in this area. So every time when I try to find a hotel, it should be with a guarded parking or safe place to park my motorcycle, even though I cannot even use it. That's why it's so important to have the right choice for your journey. Or for example, if you plan to go and ride only on TET roads around Bulgaria or Turkey or all Europe, it is obvious that a big and heavy motorcycle, it is not going to work well. But if you have something like 400 to 600cc with some off-road possibilities, will be much better option. The lighter you are, the better it's going to be, the easier it's going to be. That's why the motorcycle is very important for your journey. Make sure that you have the right model before you start your long trip. Oh, record, I have 9 people today. Such a journey. The first time I've seen so many people. Anyway, still haven't got new people in the chat. Please say hello, who you are. If you have any questions on this topic or any topic, please let me know in the comments now. Anyway, after I finish the stream, after I discuss all of the topics that I planned here, there are 15 different points, I'm gonna give you more than enough time to ask me questions. Please remember your questions, make a notes if you like, and ask me later. Joke Rocker 666. Hi Pavlin, just like see you good. Oh, nice to see you. The first time I see you here. You're welcome aboard. If you have any questions, please let me know. I'm glad that my videos and my course, of course, helps. The idea of the course just came from nowhere, but it looks like many people like it because it's a very selective information, or how I have to say. Yes, I have many videos on YouTube, they're all free, but in the course I made it in a very strict program or logical order and easy for everyone to understand it for a short period of times. Even now, these live streams, on the live streams, we're gonna discuss many of these things, but you have to spend many hours to look everything and to find what exactly you need, but in the course everything is very well structured. Ilkut. Yes, Ilkut. The question about the tires, one of the points here was, let me see, wrong tire choice. Number 8 will be wrong tire choice, so I'm gonna talk about it. Yes, I will tell you what will be my tires for Magadan. I'll tell you now and I will continue journey. For Magadan, the journey is going to be around 30,000 kilometers, which is mean that I'm gonna need 3 different set of tires. And what I planned now is to start from here, from Varna, with the Mitas 07 Plus, the tires that I have at the moment on the motorcycle. They're brand new and they will last at least 10,000 kilometers. So I hope without any problems to reach Novosibirsk with these tires, which is around maybe 8,000 kilometers from here. And in Novosibirsk, I already spoke with my friends from Russia. They will buy for me from Moscow and ship it to Novosibirsk Continental TKC 80, which I will mount when I got to Novosibirsk. And from this TKC 80, I plan to reach Magadan and come back to Novosibirsk after I complete my journey. It will be like 10,000 kilometers. I hope that they will survive, but anyway, the most critical part will be on the way to Magadan, and they will definitely survive this journey. The reason I chose Take It 80 because I know very well these tires, I know what they can do, and for my type of traveling and the destination that I pick, they will be just perfect. On the way back, once I get back to Novosibirsk, I will have whatever tires I can find, probably another set of meters if I can find meters in Russia. If not, another set of TKC will be just enough to get back to Bulgaria. But if I cannot find any other option, I will use any tire, road tire if necessary, to go back to Bulgaria, because the roads from Novosibirsk back to Bulgaria will be mostly asphalt roads, so the tires won't be a problem. So we covered a wrong motorcycle choice. I told you the pros and cons and why you have to be very, very careful when you're choosing your motorcycle for your next journey. So if you plan to go around Europe, asphalt roads with a passenger, powerful bike will be your journey. If you plan to go to TET roads or some kind of off-road activities, make sure that you have the right motorcycle. Otherwise, your trip is going to be torture, if I want to say this right. Number 4, riding and working at the same time. I've done this as well, but this is not a really good idea. So some people have holidays, let's say 2 weeks, 3 weeks, or 1 month. But when you work for someone, you have holidays. And usually when people go to travel, they are free of work. So they have holiday, they start their motorcycles and start traveling. But I never work for anyone. So I always got my own business or some kind of my own things. And this allows me to travel whatever I want or whatever destination I choose, or it doesn't matter what time of the year is, because I just have my own time. But now it's much easier because I do not do anything else than my YouTube and my travel activities. But before that, I've got my own businesses and I have to look over these big businesses. All right, I don't need to be there personally, but I need to reply emails, I need to make some telephone calls, organize this and that. And on few of my trips, I tried to work and travel at the same time. But it is not an easy job, because let's say, for example, we are 2 or 3 people traveling together. When we finish the day, my friends are just enjoying the company, beers, campfire, or bar, or restaurant, whatever. But I need to lock myself in the room and start replying emails, making phone calls, just to make sure that everything is running smoothly and there are no problems in my business. And this is not a good option, because I am not with my mind. I am on these beautiful places, and instead of enjoying the moments that I've got now to take everything from the trip, I was focusing on this work. And I've done this, as I said, a number of times, and it's never worked well. None for the trip, none for the business. Both go in terrible direction. So don't do it. It's a mistake. Make sure that everything is organized before you start your trip. If you need, hire someone to look over your things, but don't try to travel and work at the same time, because it is just not a pleasure and nothing works the way you plan it. Anyway, it's a mistake. Number 5. Okay, this was number 4. Now we go to number 5. Wrong company choice. This is very, very important. I've said it many times, but I'm gonna say it again. The best way to travel is alone. But if you cannot, or if you don't feel good to travel alone, or if this is not for you, no problem whatsoever. Travel with whatever people you like, but make sure that you have the right company. And the right company means different things for different people. But when someone, for example, when you have a good time for your riding friends around your hometown, and you might believe that, okay, this is the right person, we can go with him and travel together for a month or 2, go to this long journey. It might happen, it might work well, but you never know. Let me read one comment. Going to Portugal next year, a friend of mine has started to exchange my UK currency to euros, so he has enough money. Do you think it's a good idea? Even if you go without any cash, on every ATM in Europe, you'll be able to draw and use euros. I don't see any reason to change your pounds to euros in advance. You might change like 100 or 200 euros just to have some cash with you while you travel. But once you reach Portugal, you can use your card to pay in many places, like petrol stations, in restaurants. In many places you can pay by your card, but if you cannot, you can always draw some money from the local cash machines, and you don't need to exchange any currency to euros. Or it's just pointless. You can do it if you like, but it's pointless. Anyway, back to the wrong company choice. I've done this as well. You don't know the person until you start traveling together. Even if you are going really well together at the beginning, you don't know what is going to be after that, because when you put a few people on pressure, especially when the things are not going so well, everyone will show the worst of his sides. And it is always like that. No matter in what you believe and how good friends you are, when you're traveling, it's a different story. Now, in your normal, ordinary life, you might be good friends because everything is controlled. The environment is controlled. Everything is solid. You have your connection, you have your home, you have your family, you have your money, you have your life. Everything is all right. And the same for your friend. But when you start traveling together, you share everything. You share your time. You share your money. You share your room. You might need to share one bed, which is happened many times on the trips, especially around Asia. It's not like in Europe. You said, I want two beds, one room, two beds. Huh? You're going to get whatever they have. So you might need to share one bed. It is not a problem to share a bed with someone, but it's a problem when all of this accumulate day after day, day after day. You might need to ride many kilometers. You might need to have many different problems. One of the motorcycles might be slow, another might be fast, one person with less money, another person with more money, and confrontation will start one way or another. Let me give you one example. It's not really a good moment to say because it is with my riding friend Dima. We are good friends, but we don't travel anymore. When I say it's not a good moment because Dima is not here, but he wouldn't mind, so I'm going to share this story. We're good friends and we've done a number of trips together without any problems. But the last time when we traveled together to Mongolia, on the way back from Mongolia especially, we were forced to ride for 8-9 days between 900 and 1000 kilometers per day in Russia, just to get on time to the border because of the visas that we've got. We've got 30 days visa. In these 30 days we have to cross whole Russia, enter to Mongolia, see Mongolia, and for the same go back home. But during these 9 days, it was a lot of pressure. 9 days, 8-9 days, 1000 kilometers per day, no highways, a lot of traffic, hot, terrible conditions, and we were tired. And we started to argue for everything. You ride too slow, you ride too fast, I want to stop to eat, I want cigarettes, I want this, I want that. It is just, finally, when we split each other in Lithuania, he went one way, I went another way, and we did not even to talk each other. And we've got Bluetooth so the whole time, so we discussed everything for hours and hours and hours. And since then, we never traveled together. Still good friends, we can make short trips here around Bulgaria, but on a long trip, I prefer to be on my own. Of course, it has double side. He can say exactly the same, but I never said that I'm perfect. I just want to say that when you travel with someone, you have to have in mind that it might go wrong, especially if you have wrong company. So if you don't know the people, my advice is just don't travel with them. Just forget about it. Another one example I can tell you now is that for my new trip on to Magadan. When I was discussing the routes with one of my Russian friends, he asked me, are you going to be alone? I said, yes, I'll be alone. And he said, no, it's not a good idea to travel alone in this area. Yes, I said, okay, if you know someone in this area that want to go to Magadan, let's say from Yakutsk to Magadan, we can travel together with someone, but I don't want to be with someone all the time. And I don't really need anyone. But if you know someone that want to go, I don't mind to travel with him for a few days, or maybe to meet somewhere to discuss something. And then 2 days later he called me and said, I've got a guy from Germany, he's a Russian, lives in Germany, and he asked what route you're gonna use, so he can join you, let's say from Finland, and you can travel all the way to Magadan. I said, oh, whoa, forget about it. I don't want another person with me, person that I never seen, person that I don't know. I don't know how good he is to travel, how he can travel or cannot travel, what he can afford, how much money he has, what kind of motorcycle. All of this is a terrible mistake. I don't want to travel with person that I don't know. And when I said you have to know the person, I just gave you the example that I knew Dima very well, but even so, we split each other. So it's very, very critical to have the right company. And my advice will be the same mentality, more or less, the same money, more or less, the same motorcycles, more or less. So you have to be on one mind, if I want to say. Even so, it's not a guarantee. Anyway, let me go to the next point, number 6. To start without any preparations. This is a terrible mistake. That's why I made now this video series about how to prepare your motorcycle for long trips, because I want to encourage more and more people to check their motorcycles and prepare everything before they start the trip, because during the trip you have to focus on the trip, on logistic destination, see you want to see, to enjoy your trip, not to think about your motorcycle. So to start without any preparations, for me this is a terrible mistake. Even if you have a brand new motorcycle like I do at the moment, even so I will make sure that I've checked everything in advance and I prepare the motorcycle as best as possible, because otherwise you might miss a few things, silly things, and they might play you a really bad favor during the trip. On my old motorcycle, I almost before every trip, like I said almost because I was very strict. Before every trip I was changing the wheel bearings, sprockets, chain, everything. But on one of my trips, I think was not in Turkey, I changed everything, but before Turkey, I forgot where I was before Turkey. I was, whatever. I decided not to change the wheel bearings, for example. I said, well, they are fine, I haven't got so many kilometers, and guess what? I need to change it during the trip. It was possible because the rear was okay and I was able to change it, but it is just one example. You have to do the best as possible preparation before the trip, because as I told you many times, everything you do before the trip will help you during the trip. So to start the trip without any preparations is just nonsense for me. It's like to start the trip without any plan. And actually the preparation of the motorcycle, it's part of the plan. You plan everything in advance. You change everything in advance, your oil, your spark plug, your sprockets, your chain, everything that it's need to be changed, you do it in advance, and this will eventually help you to avoid many mistakes. The same goes to the tires, tubes, everything. Something very important on my trips, I don't know how many trips I've got, but I've got probably around 2 or maybe 3 flat tires for so many years. Do you know why? Because before every trip I start with brand new tires and brand new tubes. Tubes are very important. I've seen many people change the tires, they never change the tubes. But after 2-3 years, 20,000-30,000 kilometers, the tubes are almost worn inside, especially around the valve. And many problems start from just leaking air. And once it's leaking air, the pressure drops and then you can damage the tire, the wheel, and many more problems like that. Of course, if you have puncture, if you're unlucky enough to have nail or something to puncture your tire, it is what it is. But most of the problems could be avoided by just having new tubes and new tires before every trip. Also, even with the nail, when you have old tires almost worn out, it is easy to pick a nail and have it inside of your tube. Anyway, start without any preparation. It's a terrible mistake if you ask me. Let's go to the next. Number 7, wrong destination choice. Once again, I talked about this in many videos, and I think I discussed this topic in some of the streams here, but I'm gonna tell you once again. To have the right destination is critical because of many sub-factors that you might experience during the road. Now, for example, my journey, Magadan, it has so many obstacles before me, and to start on this journey without know the obstacles, it's going to be impossible to reach my goal. That's why it is very important to have the right destination choice. When I said right, Russia for me is okay, but I speak Russian. I have many friends there. I've been there before, and my motorcycle is not expensive and not heavy, so I can afford this journey. But if you're, for example, Western, never been to Russia, don't speak even a single word of Russian language, you don't have any friends, this might be very unpleasant or terrible choice for traveling at the moment, especially if you're American. And many more like this. Or if you decided to go on the tether roads, Bulgaria, Romania, Europe, whatever you like, but you do not have any off-road experience and your motorcycle is not prepared for the journey. So this will be a terrible destination for you. It might be great destination for many people and they might enjoy it and have fun and have wonderful videos, but it will be a terrible destination for you. So that's why I telling you now, you have to have the right destination if you want to have a successful trip and come back safe in one piece. Because on the trips, nothing is guaranteed. Everything you do may change in every moment and every day could be different and you never know. Some will say my choice of destination is wrong, planning a big trip to Norway. Well, Norway is a wonderful country, but if you, for example, do not have enough time and money to make this trip, it will be a wrong choice or terrible choice. Because Norway is very expensive and there are no highways on Norway. You'll travel only on the beautiful back roads with speed limits. So if you have only, let's say, where are you from? If you have only 10 days and the idea is to go from Europe to North Cape and come back, it is not going to happen. So it will be a wrong choice. If your budget is limited, it will be wrong choice. Going to Norway this summer from Romania. Okay, if you have only 10 days to go to Norway, it's a wrong destination. If you don't have enough money to go to Norway, it's a wrong destination. So please let me know how many days you plan to go to Norway and where in Norway. Do you want to go to North Cape or just to see Norway? You have 2 months, excellent. 2 months are excellent time. If the budget is okay for 2 months, wonderful. Remy. So some people, people always enjoy what they don't have. Yeah, it's the same. We're never happy with what we have. People from Norway would like to see something else, but we from here want to see Norway. It's a normal. You have 7-8 weeks and it will be camping as much as possible from UK, helpfully going to the North Cape. 8 weeks will be enough time. Camping as much as possible also is a good idea because it is expensive, but still many unknowns, but you will enjoy it anyway. 8 weeks will be enough. You will have from UK, you will have at least something like 8,000-9,000, almost 10,000 kilometers, so should be enough, but you will still have like 500 kilometers per day. You're still on the limits, but you can make it. Yes, you can exchange some of your contacts if you want to discuss everything. Just do it. Use this platform to meet each other and then discuss whatever you like. Anyway, that is enough for the destination choice. As I said, it might be good or wrong, whatever you decide to do, but make sure that you know all the obstacles in advance, and only then you can decide which destination is for you. Okay, wrong destination choice. And now number 8, wrong tire choice. This will be for Ilkut a little bit as well. So on my Central Asia trip, I did it with Mitas 07 tires. Mitas 07, the first modification with a very big line in the middle, rubber line in the middle. And these tires lasted 20,000 kilometers, the whole trip, the whole journey. And of course, for the last maybe 3,000-4,000 kilometers, they were not in good condition. They are almost flat. but they survived the journey, which is mean that they were the right tires for this journey. If I started this journey with my favorite tires, TKC 80, I will need at least 2 sets of tires. But if I do not have these tires with me, I should buy it somewhere. And I actually got these plans to buy the tires in Kazakhstan, and they even have the tires in Almaty, Kazakhstan once I reached there, and I was on around 10,000 kilometers when I reached there. But the tires were 3 times expensive than Europe, and I didn't want to pay that money, and that's why I finished with these tires. But when I said that the tire choice might be a mistake, it is very, very important to know the road in advance, the whole route actually. That's why, again, we're going to point number 1, to travel without any plans. How you gonna predict, or how you gonna buy the tires that you need if you don't know where your journey will bring you? So without a plan, you wouldn't know what kind of roads or terrains you're going to face, and you wouldn't be able to choose the right tires, if you understand what I mean. So if you know that your journey will include some dirt roads, maybe some difficult dirt tracks, you have to have the right tires for this journey. That's why I told you just a few minutes ago, oh, you'll go 10 people. Oh man, this will be disaster. Anyway, that's why I told you just a few minutes ago that on my journey to Magadan now, I'm gonna have at least 3 sets of tires. And I told you, the first tires, I will start from here, meters. I'll have mostly asphalt roads until I get to maybe 98% asphalt roads, and these meters tires will be more than enough to reach Novosibirsk. But from Novosibirsk to Magadan, I'm gonna have 6,000-7,000 kilometers, and from these 6,000-7,000 kilometers, I will have at least 1,000 kilometers dirt roads, and muddy roads probably. That's why I prefer to have my TKC 80, that I know very well, that will hold my motorcycle, and to go there and come back. And eventually on the way back, I can have whatever I found, because it will be asphalt roads. But if you have the wrong choice of tires at the beginning, it might be terrible for you. Once again, we'll go to TET roads, but this is what is coming to my mind now. If you plan to go on the TET roads and you do it with the normal street tires that you travel usually, it will be a mistake. It is obvious that it's going to be a mistake. On the other hand, if you plan to go to TET road, for example, Turkey, you plan to go to TET road, Turkey, but you're from Europe, and you decided to go with Nobi tires, because you need Nobi tires when you go to the dirt roads. But what about the road from Germany, for example, or from Hungary, from middle of Europe to Turkey? Until you get there, you will finish these Nobi tires. So again, it is very critical to have the right set of tires for your next trip. And if you cannot afford 2 sets of tires, then it's a big problem. If you cannot have the right tires on the country that you plan to travel, let's say you go to TET, Turkey, and if you cannot buy tires in Istanbul, for example, to change it and then start to traveling, it's a big problem. But all of this need to be think in advance, and that's why number 1, again, to have a good plan in advance. Without plan, you cannot make it. If you have a good plan, you'll know, okay, I will start from, let's say, Hungary with my street tires, and then I can reach Istanbul. Istanbul is a big city. In Istanbul, I can find any tire. I can change it on my motorcycle and do my trip. For example, when I went to my trip to Turkey, I went with the tires that I have at the moment, even they were almost worn out. But in Istanbul, Turkey, I changed it with Unresolved tires, Turkish brand, and completed the whole trip around Turkey with Unresolved tires. And then on the way back, there were more than enough rubber left to bring me back to Bulgaria, because it's only 500 kilometers from Istanbul. But this is about the tires. Make sure that you have the right tires for your journey, and always have in mind that the tires are mostly necessary when the traction is not good. Oh, I've got the record. Now I've got 10 people. Never had 10 people before. Please introduce yourself in the comments. Joko Rocker 666. My thinking is going with meters 07. I would like to go some of the Norwegian 10 people. Okay. Meters 07 plus. It's a good choice for actually it's a good compromise between dirt roads and asphalt roads, and they will last enough kilometers on the asphalt road, but if you have more than 10,000 kilometers, they won't work anymore. Also, if you have 07 plus Dakar version, which I have at the moment, they last a lot more on the asphalt. Probably you're gonna get like 14,000 kilometers, 15,000 kilometers before the year finish, but they're not that good as the normal version. Normal version 07 plus without Dakar at the end. It's made from softer compound and it provides really good grip on the asphalt roads. On the dirt roads, they are alright. They compromise, but they are alright. For the TED, in my opinion, you'll be better with something more aggressive, but again, it is your journey. Do whatever is good for you. So let's go back to the wrong gear. Gear is also very important. I mean riding gear. Because of the weather, you have to be very careful what you're having with you. So let me give you a few examples. On my trip around Europe and Portugal this summer, because it was summer, it was hot, I was expecting high temperatures. My jacket was a simple jacket, non-Gore-Tex jacket, with a lot of ventilation pockets. But the pants were still Gore-Tex pants from Revit. The jacket was also from Revit. But if you plan to go, as you say, Norway, North Cap, once you cross the middle of Norway, the temperature will start to drop, and you might have even, I don't know what time of the year you'll go, but you might have even 0 degrees, even less when you reach North Cap. And to go with a simple, light, ventilated mesh jacket is not really a good idea. Even if you plan to go to the very hot countries like Turkey, ventilation jacket is not always a good idea. Actually, it's a topic for another stream probably to talk about the gear, but now I'm gonna tell you just the basics. Once again, we're going to number one, to plan everything in advance. So if you know that area you're going is extremely hot and it will be with the temperatures over 40 degrees, then you will definitely need to think in advance about your riding gear, because the normal gear that you can use in your country in normal riding condition 25-30 degrees is not going to work very well over there. If the temperatures are over 40, you have to close all the zips, all possible ventilations, you have to soak your t-shirts, and this will be the only way to survive. If you have a heavy Gore-Tex gear, it will be too hot. That's why on my trip to Europe this summer, I went with my light ventilated jacket, non-Gore-Tex. But on my trip to Magadan, which will be also in the summer, I'm still thinking about it, and I might go with the Gore-Tex jacket because I expect a lot of rain over there. Let me see some questions. Going in July and August, I do have Gore-Tex gear plus heated jacket if needed. Yes, this is a good option. Even July and August in Europe, you will definitely be it will be hot in Europe until you get there. But once you go there, you'll be all right. So wrong gear or too much gear. Once again, when you know your plan, when you know your destination, you will know weather conditions. If you expect it too hot or too much rain or too cold, all of this will tell you what kind of gear you have to pick for your journey. Because if you have a wrong gear, it will be disaster. Or if you take too much gear. Let me give you another one mistake that I did. On my trip around Asia, I went with a normal riding jacket. It was like a full season riding jacket with a very small zips, very small vents here on the chest, and I think one big on the back. And it was not ventilated enough for such a hot environment that I faced there, because once I reached Azerbaijan, the temperature rose to 40 degrees and more, and until I reached Tajikistan, which was more than 2 weeks, it was every day over 35-40 degrees, and with this jacket, not really good. Thankfully, when the temperature go over 40, you have to zip everything and to soak your t-shirt and keep you cooled or like in air conditioning for a few minutes or a few hours, at least for 30 minutes it works, no more than 30 minutes. But even so, if I want to do it again, I will do it with a different type of jacket, something like the Revit off-track that I've got now on my trip to Portugal, because it was very light with a big ventilation pockets. When the temperatures are before 38, I can open big ventilation pockets and have enough air. But when temperatures are rising over 40, then I can close the pockets and keep the temperature cooler. But with my jacket that I went to Central Asia, I've got just a small zips. When it's not that hot, when it's not over 40, I can open that zips, but they were not enough, and I was sweating like a crazy. And believe it or not, but for this two weeks period that I explained, or maybe 3 weeks period, I drank every day like 5 to probably 8 liters of water, and I never go to pee, never ever. And since we reached finally Tajikistan, I start to go normally to the toilet, and the color was dark orange. That dehydrated we were because of this heat and not having enough gear, or the proper gear to ventilate it properly or to close ventilations when you need it. It's too complicated. That's why I said it should be probably topic for another stream to discuss more details, the gear. But yeah, you have to be very, very careful with your gear. Make sure that you know the whole route and weather conditions and what kind of temperatures you expect. Rain, cold, hot, all of this will tell you what kind of gear you have to take on your journey. Otherwise, you're gonna make terrible mistake. Forgot to tell you something. On my trip around Asia, I also took another jacket with me. It was a light jacket with mesh that I thought that I will be able to use it once I go to the hot environment, just to realize that in hot environment, mesh jacket does not work at all, because all of this hot air actually go through your body and you will dehydrate yourself even more. But as I said, it's a topic for another video. Okay, let's now go to mistake number 10. Too much weight. Again, we're coming to my favorite phrase, which is weight always matters. To take too much weight on the trip, it's always mistake. I don't know how many trips I've got, but with every trip I am taking less and less and less and less luggage, less weight, because all of this weight, whatever weight you take, 5 or 50 kilograms, need to be loaded and unloaded every day. And the more you have, the more complicated it is going to be. And when I said the weight always matters, it might be just when you load your motorcycle or unload it. It might be when you need to lift your motorcycle from the ground or any other situations, but it will matters. Ilkut. For summer rides in hot environment, best is mesh jacket and carry rain suit in case the weather becomes colder. Well, Ilkut, let me tell you, over 40 degrees, mesh jacket is a terrible choice. Because, as I said just a few minutes ago, all of this hot air will go through you and will dry you like a fish. And instead of drinking 5 liters water per day, you're gonna drink 10 liters water per day, and you will experience even a heated stroke. But when you don't have a mesh jacket, or when you have a jacket that is possible to close, you will keep the cold temperature inside of your body. What I do, and I've done it many times in southeast Turkey, exactly where you are going, when I see water, I stop to the water, soak my t-shirt full with water very well, and then zip everything, ventilations, everything to the top. I close my visor, and this is how I was able to go on the temperatures over 40, 42, 3 degrees, especially when I reached to Mardin, Midyat. This area was so hot, so with a mesh jacket is going to be terrible choice. Please don't do it. Make sure that your jacket is possible to close it. Otherwise, it will be very, very difficult for you. Back to the weight. As I told you, weight always matters. Whatever situation, sooner or later, you will understand that the lighter you are, the easier your journey is going to be. It might be just a simple situation when you need to lift your motorcycle from the ground, or when you have to put it on the central stand on the petrol station, or when you have to push it to move it somewhere. And yeah, weight always might be a problem or not a problem. I mean weather about 30-35 degrees. For 30-35 degrees, yeah, mesh jacket will be alright, but you don't know. You might plan 35 and on the next day to wake up and to see that it's 45. So in my opinion, if you don't have another jacket that is possible to close it, go with this jacket. But if you have another with good ventilation and pockets that are possible to close, go with it. Remy, have you considered using a separate armor under your Revit Sierra shirt in the hot? Well, if you have a separate armor, it is definitely better. It is good to have in terms of protection, but then in terms of mobility, I don't think so. On the long trip, the more things you have on you, the more things you have to carry every time when you walk around. So it will be okay when you ride, but what about when you stop and need to walk around and see some attractions? Then all of these extra layers that you have will be terrible. I know that going this way, I make some kind of compromise with my safety because, as I said, this full protection or whatever you name it, separate armor, it's always provide more protection, but again, it's a compromise to traveling without it. Because as I said, when you stop and need to walk around, where are you gonna keep all of this? Even if you have a hard panniers, you cannot have everything in the panniers. You have to walk with this or hang it on the motorcycle, lock it with something. It's a problem, and it's again, the less things you carry with you, the easier is going to be for you to travel, to move around, and to go to see things and everything. Because if the idea is only to travel, fine, but you still need to walk here and there, and this will be a problem. Let me see. Have you considered using a separate armor? Okay. Would you consider taking a hydration pack with you in a hot country? If so, what size in liters? This hydration pack is something absolutely critical. I always have it with me, and my hydration pack is only 2 liters. I always have it with me on all of my trips. And I highly recommend to each and every one of you, do not start your trips without hydration pack. I should have done this as a mistake, traveling without hydration pack, but anyway, I'm gonna tell you now. Mine is 2 liters, and the reason I choose 2 liters, because 2 liters is more compact. There are options with 3 liters, but 3 liters are little bit bulky and heavy on your shoulders all the time. And also in the hot environment, these 2 liters, they are not enough, but you have to stop anyway. And also in the hot days, when you have 3 liters, they will become really hot after maybe 1 hour, and probably 2 liters of this are not going to be drinkable, and you have to change it anyway. But my 2 liters are just enough to keep me refreshed until I find the next stop, so I can use again cold water. And that's why I prefer to have 2 liters. But I have friends with 3 liters, but again, as I said, it's very bulky and heavy on your shoulders. I could agree more. When I got my Tiger, I bought my Ali panniers and top box from Norway. I have just bought the Adventure Specs Magadan panniers, which weigh about 2.5 kilograms. Well, unfortunately, the English language is not come really easy on this stream, but I hope you got the idea what I'm about to say. Wim Ross, what brand hydration pack do you recommend? The one I used leaked. Maybe you can recommend a good one. Yes, absolutely. The hydration pack that I've got is from a Israeli brand named Source. I'm gonna type it here. Source. Okay. I post the link. Can you tell me, is it possible to open this link? Because I tried before and it doesn't work. If not, I'm gonna write only the name and you can find it. Okay, so this brand, it's a Israeli brand, and I think they made it for Israeli army, but now you can buy it from everywhere. They are a bit expensive, so one hydration pack, only the pack without the backpack will cost you like 30-40 euros, maybe a little bit more. But they are very good. The one that I've got now, I have it from already 5 years. And before that, I've got another one that lasts almost like 4 years, and finally, accidentally, I punched it. On one of my trips, somehow I have a big duffel bag on my seat, and when I was lying on it, somehow I punched it. But the good side, or why I recommend this brand, because it never stinks, never ever. So I told you, more than 5 years, I don't know how many liters of water went through this hydration pack, and it never stinks. It's still in the same condition as before. So the usual hydration packs that you can find very cheap, you can buy it from everywhere, but after you fill it a few times, they start to stink, and you can drink from it only if you're really thirsty. But the one that I've got, I don't know what kind of antibacterial cover they've got inside, but it's never stink. It's just wonderful. The water is fresh as before. Even now my hydration pack stays in the garage with the water that I filled probably a few months ago, and even now if I go there and just drink it, it's fine. Also the I don't know what is the name of these things that you have to buy it and suck it. Of course, I've got a plastic cover. You can cover it when you're riding in dusty conditions. So Source is definitely a wonderful hydration pack. You got one, but okay, very good. I'm glad that it works well for you. All right, we talk about too much weight. The next mistake that you can make on your trips is to plan too many or too little kilometers per day. This is very, very important, very, very critical. As we discussed with a guy just a few minutes ago about Norway, he said that got 8 weeks. 8 weeks might looks like a lot of time, but it depends on that how many kilometers you've got in total. Now on my trip around Europe, I've got like 16,000 kilometers for 40 days, something like that. It was like 300 to 400 kilometers per day. If you split the whole journey, this was the mileage per day, 300-400 kilometers per day. This is manageable. But if you plan too many kilometers and you don't have enough time to execute these kilometers properly, you will finish like me and Dima riding in Russia 1,000 kilometers per day for almost 8 days. Just because we did not plan properly. We planned too many kilometers for too short period of time. So to have too many kilometers, it's always a mistake. You wouldn't be able to see anything. You'll see only your motorcycle, and that's it. Okay, your journey is about 5,000 miles, 8,000 kilometers. So 2 weeks will be all right. For 2 months will be all right. So if you choose too many kilometers for short period of time, as I said, you'll finish like me and Dima riding too many kilometers. You'll be exhausted. You'll see only motorcycle. You will have a terrible ass pain, and the journey is not going to be pleasure anymore. It is going to be torture. On the other hand, if you plan too little kilometers, then you're gonna need a lot of time. If you plan 100 or 300 kilometers per day, does mean you should have a lot of time. But if you did not plan this time, it will be again terrible mistake. If you have only 2 weeks holiday, but you plan 200 kilometers per day, that means the whole journey should be 1,400 kilometers. If you have more than this, you wouldn't be able to make it. So you have to make a compromise. To travel more, to see less, or to have more days for traveling. That's why it is a mistake to plan too many or too little kilometers. Make sure that you have a plan right from the beginning. Again, we're going to point number 1, to have the right plan, to split it properly, to know how many kilometers you can handle per day, to know what kind of road it is, because on the highways you can make 1,000 per day, but on the dirt roads 300 are more than enough for 10 hours of riding, and it depends on that what kind of dirt roads and what kind of skills you have. That's why, again, number 1, have the right plan that will give you all the answers. The next, number 12, to risk the name of the adventure. This is a terrible mistake, and I told you in one of the previous streams that I've been asked many times, do I make some things for the name of the good more views on YouTube, or do I risk a lot just to have more views on YouTube? I never done it, and I will never do it. To look for possible problems, or if you want to name it adventure, in the names of or to look risking the name of the adventure, for me is just nonsense. You have to plan your trip as easy as possible, as smooth as possible, and the adventure will find you one way or another. It might, if you don't have any problems on the trip, does mean wonderful trip. you come back home safe without any problems. If you did not feel any adventure, if you how I have to say, I don't know how to tell you properly, but on every trip you will have some surprises. On every trip you're gonna have some adventurous moment, and you don't have to look for it. It's a terrible mistake to risk in the name of the adventure. Let's say, for example, you don't have the right skills to ride on the dirt roads, but you decided that, oh, I can cross this mountain here, it will be a nice adventure. Yes, it might be a nice adventure. You might be able to cross the mountain and have a wonderful experience, but also it might go to another direction. You might drop your motorcycle on the top of the mountain where there are no people, no internet connection, no telephones, and you might even die over there. That's why I said to risk in the name of the adventure is just nonsense to me. Please don't do it. Yes, it is adventure being on the road. Exactly. Very well said, Ilko. Thank you very much. Once you leave your town, your comfort zone, it is already an adventure. You're gonna have so many days very different than your every days that you've got at home. You have to think about petrol, destinations, kilometers, accommodation, food, all of this. It's already an adventure. It's already an excitement. It's already something different that you will enjoy very much, and you don't need to find another problems just in the name of the adventure. I hope that it is clear now. Okay, number 13. This is not for everyone, but definitely for some of you. Mistake number 13 is to ruin the trip because of filming. So, as you know, I film my trips. Probably you found me because of the trips that I film. But you can easily ruin the whole trip because of filming, especially if you travel with someone. That's why I finished traveling alone now, because of the filming that I promised to everyone to deliver these videos. My trip is a little bit different. I tried to film everything, which is mean that I have to plan almost not every minute, but I have to have some kind of idea to the whole journey. Every episode that I plan to make need to have some kind of chronological order, which again need to be converted to some kind of pre-made plan, what I have to see here, how I have to film it, how I'm gonna present it to the people over there, and this somehow will take something from the pleasure of your journey. And it should be traveling for pleasure or traveling for filming. For me, it is alright because I started this way many years ago, and for me now it's just like a second thought. I never worry so much about this, how exactly I'm gonna film everything, because I have one camera. That's why actually I finish with one camera that I use when I ride. It's there on my chin, my GoPro. And I use the same camera when I stop and walk around. I have the same GoPro just mounted on a small tripod and film around. When I finish walk around, I have the same camera mounted on my chin, and this somehow made my filming, or the filming part of my trips, much easier, or how I have to say, something that I can afford. I can afford to travel and film everything, but I cannot afford to have 3-4 different cameras, different angles, to stop every 10 minutes to put a camera and ride it next to the camera, then come back, pick up the camera. All of this will destroy my trip, and that's why I prefer to have it this way. So don't make this mistake to ruin your trips because of filming. First, and the most important for me, is the trip. The trip is for me. On the second place is filming. If I can film during I make my trip, the pleasure that I plan, fair enough, I'll do it. But if I have to put my pleasure on the second place, it is not going to work. This is also the reason why I don't upload any videos while I travel. I prefer to upload the videos when I get back home, safe in one piece. I don't want to travel one day, then to spend one day in the hotel room to edit video and upload it, and then travel another one day, and then spend one day in the hotel room uploading videos. No. This is just not for me, because this will ruin my trip. So my advice to you, don't do it. You can always post a short video, 1 minute, 2 minutes, Instagram, Facebook, what I do while I travel. But long episodes, they require a lot of time and they need to be done when you're back home safe in one piece. Ilkut. The best thing of long trips is meeting people that you will never see in your lifetime in your town. Absolutely, I can confirm this, and I can tell you, for me the best part of every trip are people. Especially when you have the chance to go to a different religion, different cultures where people are so different, and you will have so much experience just to talk with these people. They will give you such a thing that you cannot find anywhere, not in the internet, not in the news. They will open your mind to such a interesting and colorful world. And yeah, this is the best part of any adventure are people. I agree, Ilkut. What do you think about 360-degree cameras? One camera for all you need. In fact, I've got Insta360, something like that camera. It was sent even free to me from the company. And I tested this camera for 2-3 weeks, and I was thinking exactly the same as you. I can have this camera and it will serve all the purposes that I need. I can film the motorcycle, you can have this 360 degrees. I can work with this camera when I walk around, but the reality is different. These cameras are not so easy to use. The programs that they used after that, the software that they used are not that easy to work with. You will need at least 2-3 months to learn how to use this camera properly, and it just does not work for me. So I tried this camera for 2 weeks, and after 2 weeks I sent an email to the company. I said, I'm sorry, but I cannot have this camera with me for traveling. It is just too complicated and does not provide what I need. I will stay with my GoPro at the moment because I haven't found a better solution to work with my trips. It might work for many people, but not for me. First of all, this 360-degree this 360-degree camera, they haven't got microphones. They've got only built-in microphones. This was the first thing that I cannot use. And second is all of these complicated things that I told you, the software and everything, and the battery life, and it's just impossible for me. I'm not saying that it will be impossible for everyone, but for me, definitely not. All right, 13 was ruined trip because of filming. Number 14. Traveling with problems at home. This is another one mistake that you can make, and I have made this also. If you have any problems at home that are not solved before the trip, please don't go anywhere. Because as they say, when you come back, the elephant in the room will be still there, but it will be even bigger, if you understand what I mean. If you have any problems at home, try to solve it before you go, because there is nothing worse to think about problems at home while you ride. While you ride, need to be concentrated on the road, on the destination, on the location, on the things that you have to see. Believe it or not, when you have to think about something else, you will spend like 2, 3, 500 kilometers without even remember the road, without even seeing the road. And this is not really a good idea when you need your concentration on 100%. So try to solve the problems before you take off for your journey. Otherwise, you wouldn't enjoy it the same way as you will do it otherwise. Or I hope you got the idea. Number 15, comparing yourself with others. This is a terrible mistake that you can make on the trip. The trip is yours. It is your journey. You're a unique person. You can make your unique trip. Don't try to compare yourself with others. This is a terrible mistake. The last thing that you need while you're on the trip is to check the YouTube channels of other people to see where they have been, what they filmed, their Instagrams, and everything like this. Forget about it at all. Don't compare yourself with others until you get back home. Even if you're at home, this is not a good idea, but if you cannot resist, you can do it when you get back home. See how your journey was and what you can do. But to make it on the trip, there will be always someone better, bigger, tougher, with more money, beautiful than you. You cannot be the best in any ways, because there will be always someone on the top of you. And if you start to compare yourself with others, you will finish in deep depression that will ruin your trip. Never write your own right. Your trip is for you and you only. Absolutely, very well said. Guys, these are the 15 mistakes that you should avoid in any case while you're on the trip. But now I will give you the time to ask me anything you want. Any questions that you might have on this topic or any topic, please let me know in the comments and I will try to answer. Just an idea about handling your cash in Russia. In your cards are not allowed in Russian banks ATM. Consider using Bitcoin wallet. No, this is a terrible idea. Bitcoin wallet is not going to work in Russia at all. This is just terrible idea. Don't try to travel with this because what works in your world might not work in another. Also, I already found a solution for my cash in Russia, but it is nothing with Bitcoins. Anything what is electronic transaction might be a problem in Russia unless you have a Russian card. Exactly what I plan to have. So this is a terrible idea. I'm sorry to tell you, but not really good idea. There are many Bitcoins ATMs in Russia and you can manage deposit your capital. Yeah, there might be, but you don't know what will happen tomorrow. It might be another one sanction from the West and then forget about it. There are also many ATMs that works in Russia for a normal MasterCard and Visa, but now because of the sanction, MasterCard and Visa doesn't work. So about crypto, I'm not going to risk anyway because I don't like this idea for crypto anyway, so I'm not going to risk at all. But yeah, thank you anyway for the advice. I already have a solution, so it's all right. Well, thank you for coming, guys, but as I said, there are days and days. In some of the days, in some of the streams, my English is coming more easy. Today is not that day. I just forgetting some words or some connections, but it is what it is. If you want, I can make the stream on Bulgarian. It will be much easier for me, but unfortunately, this is the English I know. So let me know. Any questions, guys, please. Anything related to trips, anything that you might have in mind, any mistakes that you might think or whatever. As I told you, I have made all of these mistakes, all of them, some of them even a number of times. So there are many more, but I think that these 15 are like the top mistakes that you can make, because as I said before, every trip will teach you something new. Every trip will be a new journey, a new opportunity to learn something new, to learn how to write, how to behave, how to contact, how to deal with people, and many more. My English is great. I think my English is still better than your Bulgarian, Matthias, but thank you very much. Thank you very much. People say that English is easy to learn, but the problem is that I never been to proper English school. Never ever. I've done two times I started English courses, and from the moment we coming to the grammar, I just said, nah, that's enough. So I learned my English from communication with people, from sending emails, because my work that I've done before was with a lot of emails. So this is how I learned my English. I know that it is not perfect, but it's worked to me well. So it is what it is. The only one that I have. I cannot see any questions. If you don't have any questions, there are two options. You know everything or you don't know anything. Graham, New Zealand. My soft panels from Lomo arrived and they are 13 liters each. I have removed my top box for now as I don't need it at this time. I have to confess I am not a long distance traveler. Graham, I wasn't long distance traveler also. We all are born like kids, loving motorcycles, change our maybe passions to something else. I start traveling. I also didn't know what I need. Eventually, during the years, I learned what works and what doesn't work, and that's why I actually made this channel, to help others. 13 liters soft panniers are not much, but it's good that you remove your top box. Gordon, do you think cycle shorts work to stopping getting sunburn? No, they doesn't work. I tried all possible options. I tried with Airhawk. I tried with gelt pads. I tried with sheepskin. I tried with cycle shorts as well. Actually, they were so bad that I need to stop and remove it in the middle of the first day, because they were pressing my balls so hardly all the time. And because the cycle shorts are made, they've got these paddings on very specific points. But when you ride a motorcycle, you're bended forward, and these points are different than the points that you're gonna press when you ride a motorcycle. So they definitely doesn't work. Some people use it, I've seen many riders use it, but for me, it doesn't work at all. As I said, on the first day, I stop it and remove it in the middle of the day, and I never wear it again. Also, all of these Airhawks, gel pads, all of them, that just doesn't work for me. This is topic for another video. We can discuss only the comfort during the trips, and it will be interesting topic, by the way. So next trip, let me write a note here. Comfort. So next Sunday, I'm gonna make a stream about comfort during the trip, and I'm gonna discuss all of the things that are going to help you on the long trips to make your trip more comfortable. And believe it or not, they cost nothing, zero, but will make a significant difference in your riding comfort. Ilkut, okay. First is Remy. How many days you will recommend using going from Varna to Tbilisi, Georgia? Depends on that how you're gonna make it. From Varna to Tbilisi, Georgia, you can go by ferry from Burgas, and it will take you 3 days. If you go around Turkey, again it will take you 3 days. You will have like 500-600 kilometers, 700 kilometers per day, but it will be 3 days. But if this is your time going through Turkey, Turkey is too interesting to go just like this. But if you take a ferry from Burgas, Varna to Tbilisi, you cannot go to Tbilisi, but you will go to Batumi, Georgia. The ferry is 3 days and costs 320 euros per motorcycle and one rider. One motorcycle, one rider. So you can go from Varna to Burgas, it's 100 kilometers, and then take the ferry for 3 days. And then from Batumi to Tbilisi, I think was like 120 kilometers. Okay, let me now see the comments. Ilkut, you have given all the information. We don't have any questions left. Glad to hear. There will be always questions, but they will come later. In Bulgaria, we have this word that Bulgarian mind is very clever, but it always comes later. Graham, I have 38 liters waterproof soft bag as well. I don't have trip plan. Okay. If you have this 38 liters soft bag, you can go only with this bag. But if it's not enough, then you can use the saddle bags. Okay, whatever works for you. Wim Ross, how do you prepare the roads to long trips? Do you draw lines with a pen on a paper map? Do you use Google Maps before you go? Let me show you the maps again. Before every trip, I spent a lot of time sitting at home and plan my road. So this is a map for Pakistan. So you can see that I sat here and I draw a line. This is to see the red line, what part of Pakistan I'm going to visit. And this is again from Pakistan. So before every trip, I spent a lot of time to prepare myself, my motorcycle and my routes and everything that I just told you just a few minutes ago. So I prepare everything on the paper map, I make the routes, and of course I checked everything with Google Maps. Sometimes if I cannot find something on the map, I can easily find it on Google by just type the name, and then from Google, when I see the location, I can find it on the map. But I always do everything with the maps. I hope this answered the question. Then Matthias, Airhawk worked fine for me last year. Without it, I probably couldn't finish my trip to Slovenia and back to UK. If it's worked for you, use it. But the Airhawk for me got one big downside. I had it with me on my trip to Morocco, and when you sit on the seat on the highways, it's wonderful because it provides this air cushion and it's good. But when you start riding on the dirt roads, every time when I stand on the pegs, it moves. It has the straps, but it moves. And then when I sit, I have to adjust it under my seat. And in one of these adjustments, I almost fell. I almost dropped the bike because I was taking my attention from the handlebar, trying to removing and to adjust the air hook, and I almost dropped the bike. And since this moment, I remove it and continued the trip without it. So it doesn't work for me, but it might work for you. Joke Rocker. After watching your video, got my soft panniers 30 liters each side plus roll back with all of my gear and tools. Think it's about 18 kilograms, which is less than my Ali pannier, aluminum panniers, and top box. Weight always matters. I'm glad that you took this decision. You will never regret. This is a wonderful step that you have made, and it will pay in your future trips. Gordon, how often do you stop for a break on 300 kilometers? Well, I usually stop, depends on the trip, depends on the destination, but I usually stop every 2 hours or every 200 kilometers. Usually are the hours first. Again, it depends on the destination, so it will be hours or kilometers. But how often you should stop, it depends on you and your riding style. If I, for example, have for today's ride only 200 kilometers, there is no reason for me to make it for 2 hours. I can stop every 15 minutes. But if I have to cover many kilometers, 5, 6, 7, 800 kilometers, then I'm very strict and I'm stopping once per 200 kilometers. So if I have only 300 kilometers per day, I'm gonna start, of course, as usual, very early, and I'm gonna try to make it until lunchtime, and then I'm gonna have the whole afternoon to relax. I don't want to stop every 15 minutes just because I do not have many kilometers to cover. I hope that you understand. Remy, yeah, good advice. Ride through Turkey. Turkey it's a wonderful destination. Even this road which is going around Black Sea is interesting. You're gonna see a lot of interesting small towns and villages. You're gonna have the chance to eat the local food, which is fantastic. The food is fantastic in Turkey, and you will have at least some kind of impressions from Turkey. If you take the ferry, it will be just a ferry, nothing else. The only reason not to ride through Turkey will be if you want to preserve your tires, because the asphalt in Turkey, especially in this part of Turkey, is very grainy, and it will eat maybe 50% of your tires for only 2,500 kilometers. So keep this in mind. As I said, the only reason to avoid Turkey is if you want to preserve your tires, because whatever tires you have, they will be not the same once you reach to Tbilisi. Most of the life of the tires will be worn out on the Turkish highways. So next Sunday, the topic of the next stream is going to be comfort during long motorcycle trips, and I'm gonna tell you, as I said, many interesting things. I hope that again we'll have at least 2-3 people here. Today we've got 10, maybe more next Sunday. But yeah, it's an interesting topic, and I have a lot of information to share. Joker Rocker 666. How good are heated grips on the bike trip? This is how I have to say. This is the best, or maybe one of the most useful items that you have to add on your motorcycle. You cannot make a really long trip without heated grips. Even if it's in the summer, in the middle of the summer, if it's long trip, that means you have to cover many kilometers. If you cover many kilometers, the weather is not going to be the same. For example, if you have a trip around Europe in the middle of the summer, once you reach the Alps, the temperature will drop, and then you can thank me about the heated grips. This is the most useful gadget that you definitely need to install on your motorcycle. You might forget about crash guards, engine guards, auxiliary lights. You might leave everything at home, but heated grips are something that you will enjoy. So definitely install heated grips. Yes, Gordon. Yeah, next Sunday I'll try to prepare myself even better, and yeah, I hope that we all together will be able to make a nice stream and provide useful information for everyone that watching the stream. So guys, if you don't have any questions, I plan to finish the stream here. It is what is 1 hour and 35 minutes already. Thank you very much for coming, for everyone, for all the questions and comments and all the information that you also shared here. My pleasure, Matthias. My pleasure. See you next time. So I hope that everything will be fine and we all will be able to make the trips that we planned for this summer, and we'll be able to stay again here in the next streams, whatever they come after the summer, and discuss our already done trips. And yeah. All right. See you next time. Ciao, guys.